Today we have a rare opportunity to see two of Toyota's newest SUVs side by side. And this is something that we got a last minute opportunity to do because we're here at Toyota's Denver regional office for an event where we're going to be taking these Land Cruisers and those Tacomas off-road. And they gave us a nice surprise by having this Trailhunter here available for us to film. We can't drive it yet. The drive program has not happened, but that will be coming soon. But since we've got these vehicles parked next to each other, we just wanted to take advantage of that and do a little behind the scenes video to show you what these two SUVs are like side by side. Because again, these are both very new vehicles and there might be people out there that are cross-shopping them and trying to figure out which one to buy. And there's gonna be a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences. Now this particular 4Runner is a Trailhunter version. I've panned across this logo a couple times, and if you've been looking either at the 4Runner or even at the Tacoma lineup, you will be familiar with the name Trailhunter. So this is one of the most off-road capable versions of the 4Runner, and let's walk through some of what that gets you visually. Get these really cool, I would call them bronze wheels, and we've got Toyo Open Country all-terrain tires here. But if we zoom in a little further, you'll see these upper control arms that are branded Trailhunter, and also Old Man Emu branded shocks here. So we've already got some good equipment. Looking down further, skid plate as well underneath. And these are pre-production prototype vehicles, so not everything on this is exactly how it's going to be in the full production models, but pretty close. Here on the hood, you see iForce Max. That is our powertrain. So on the 4Runner lineup, you're going to have two options. You'll either have the standard 2.4 liter Turbo 4 that you're going to have in the Tacoma and also in the Land Cruiser. The regular version of that powertrain will get you 278 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque. But if you opt for the bigger, badder hybrid, then you're going to get 326 horsepower, which is a decent amount, but 465 pound-feet of torque, so quite a bit of torque. And those numbers are basically the same as what you're getting on the Land Cruiser and on the Tacoma as well. And those are all paired through an 8-speed transmission. So good stuff to have there. But again, for the Trailhunter, few extra goodies. So we've got this snorkel here, kind of similar to, again, what you see over there on the Tacoma. Really a lot of similarities between these in suspension and wheels. Also these sliders along the side, which is always good to have, especially if you want to use this for rock crawling, which does seem to be more so the intention of these Trailhunter models. We have an ARB branded roof rack up top. So if you've got a lot of outdoor hobbies, this could be a nice addition to have, so you can strap a few things up top, and if nothing else, it just looks cool. And then around back, you can see our hitch and our trunk setup here. Why don't we go ahead, we'll pop the trunk and show you one of the cool things that you get on this model. You can actually use this right here to inflate and fill up your tires after you go off-road. Now, something that has been talked about before, this is not brand new news, this is not breaking news, but I will say the load height on this is pretty tall. So lift over for heavy objects to get it into the back is not going to be the easiest. And the hybrid battery has to go somewhere. And yeah, there is a little bit of a sacrifice there. You can see how much of a lip that this has on it, but still pretty sizable trunk. This is obviously a pretty tall and boxy SUV. So of course, it's not going to be a tiny area in back. And it's worth taking a look at the interior as well, because they've done a really good job restyling this interior. So the old 5th gen 4Runners that are now on their way out had a pretty dated setup. I mean, it had been refreshed through its long life cycle, but there's only so much you can do in that sense. And this interior is a big step forward. It looks very much in line with the rest of the interiors that Toyota is doing on Tacoma, Land Cruiser, Tundra. A lot of these styling elements, design choices all look very familiar, but it's not a bad thing. It's a sharp looking interior. These seats are a pretty cool color, almost a greenish gray. And they've got yellow or gold highlights. It's a really good look. Same thing there on the console. You have a huge screen here in the middle. It says Toyota on the dash. Also a really nicely upholstered glove box. Got JBL speakers. You've got your little speaker here on the dash that pops out so that you can take it into your campsite, use it there. And yeah, big screens. So it's a much more modern looking and feeling interior. It says Trailhunter there on the door card, and a pretty cool dash trim. It's got a funky color to it. I like it a lot. It looks cool, it looks rugged, it looks modern. And we've still got these big chunky controls for climate, for heated and ventilated seat, for heated steering wheel, all really nice things to have. And I feel like Toyota has kind of made a habit out of having these big chunky buttons that you can operate with gloves in the winter if you're in a rugged climate. So that's all nice stuff to have. Got a trailer brake controller right here next to the steering wheel. Also pretty cool. Got some auxiliary switches, excuse me. And that's gonna be nice for kind of an overlanding trim like this. If you wanna hook up some accessories, maybe some lights, you've got that as an option. Here, like a lot of other Toyota products, we have our four-wheel drive selector. So 4 low, 4 high, and 2 high. And then we've got our crawl control, multi-terrain select, drive modes, towing mode, all good stuff to have. Rear locker and sway bar disconnect. So that's some of your off-road gear. Again, all really good stuff to have in this off-road trim of the 4Runner, and a nice comfortable interior, which is all really great. And then in the back seat, you can see very similar styling on the seats. We've got a little armrest with cup holders that fold down. We've also got vents here for the rear seat passengers, which is nice. And this model being a hybrid, we've got 2400 watts that we can pull. So really powerful outlet there. 2 USB-Cs, which I love to see. At this point, I think at least my phone cable, I think most people's phone cables are USB-C. So I'm happy to see that. And once again, they haven't skimped out on adding some color, some texture, and some contrast to the door cards here in the back. Also pockets, extra cup holders. So in the rear seat, it's not going to be a bad place to sit. It's all really nice stuff. You can also hop underneath here, see solid rear axle. Let me see if I can even poke the camera in here to get a little bit of a look at that rear shock. Really nice stuff. Piggyback reservoir on there, ARB branded, and Old Man Emu branded back there. You can get a better look at the skid plate as well. So that is kind of a general overview of the 4Runner. And pricing wise, we don't know yet. They haven't told us what this is going to cost. But if it follows the Tacoma pricing, then we can expect that this 4Runner will probably be in the $60,000 to $65,000 range for something like this very spec'd out Trailhunter, because that's what this costs. This Trailhunter, $63,700. So if it's anywhere near what this costs, then that's about the pricing that we can expect. Now, over to the Land Cruiser. By comparison, this is a first edition. This is a very, very high-end spec of the Land Cruiser. So this is far from the most affordable version of it. There's going to be Land Cruisers that you can spec pricing-wise a little bit closer to what that 4Runner will likely be. This particular one has a sticker showing 76. So yeah, this one is pricey. But once again, we've got a very boxy exterior. It's cool looking. Like I said, powertrain options are going to be pretty much the same, or at least your option, the hybrid. And here's the dash. So slightly different styled. It looks a little bit less like the Tacoma, but still a sharp interior. The seats on this particular one are mostly just black, slightly contrast stitching, but not quite as interesting looking seats as in the 4Runner, I would say in general. This interior, not quite as interesting the way that this one is spec'd. You can see here on the door, tells you first edition. And then over in the center, we'll take a look at some of our off-road gear in here. So a slightly different four-wheel drive selector. So this is a full-time system. So you've got high 4 and low 4, so you can switch into low range. You do still have your crawl control multi-terrain select. You've got your mode button right there. And then traction control off, sway bar, center locker, rear locker. Then moving up, slightly different setup also for the climate. So instead of big chunky knobs, we've still got hard buttons, which is nice, so you don't have to do everything through the screen. But we've got your heated and ventilated seat, heated steering wheel, so a lot of the same features, just laid out to you differently. Slightly different screen layouts here, and of course different steering wheel. So just the way that it's shaped is different. We've also got a sunroof in this particular one. So that's all nice stuff. These are really going to be points of preference for which one of these has a layout and a look that is going to suit you the best as far as the interior. Same thing for the exterior. Depends on which one you like better, which one you think looks better. We go into the back seat here. Once again, we've got our own climate controls back here, which is pretty nice. Your vents are going to be up there in the ceiling for these passengers. This door card for the back, not that people are probably buying these for their rear door cards, but I would just say maybe not as interesting as in the 4Runner. Once again, fold that down, cup holders. So I would personally give the 4Runner points for interior, at least as far as just the way that it looks. And I like the big chunky climate knobs. But once again, like I said, in the 4Runner, pretty tall liftover height. You have this large block that you're going to have to bring your stuff up to. We don't have that air compressor back here. So this is going to be your setup here in this particular Land Cruiser. So, you know, I gotta say, for me, if it were my money, and you know, the 4Runner pricing is yet to come out. And of course, like I said, you can get Land Cruisers for less than this over $70,000 first edition. But I would personally go for, if it were my money, the 4Runner, because the 4Runner is just cool. I love the way that it looks. If it drives anything like the Tacoma, which it should, then it will drive really well. And this Trailhunter in particular just comes with a lot of the off-road kit that I would absolutely want it to have. Great looking wheels, rock sliders, some skid plates, good suspension, snorkel, roof rack, compressor in it, rear locker, all of that goodness, which is just so nice to have here in Colorado. And hopefully soon we will be getting out and driving these new 4Runners, taking them off-road, seeing just how capable they are. But let me know in the comments below, between the new Land Cruiser and the new 4Runner, which one would you have? That's all for this video, and we'll see you in the next.